Hey, my Pilates people. I'm Amy Jordan, the founder and CEO of Wunderbar Pilates. This 21-day program is going to help you achieve the Pilates body of your dreams. Hey guys, this is your Pilates waistline slimming workout. Get a couple of paper plates and let's work to get your hourglass closer to the middle. Thanks for joining me. Who's ready to work their waistline today? I certainly am. Let's get started. We're gonna jump right in with a plank on our elbows. So we're gonna set our elbows on the mat and step our legs all the way long. I like to keep karate chop palms because that really helps me not to grip with my forearms. We can hold here, but if this feels aggressive, you can always choose to drop your knees down to the mat and hold and get great focus there still through the deep abdominals. We wanna lengthen and make sure we don't have any valleys hanging the hips down, or we don't want any mountains poking the hip up. So we're gonna hold here for this beautiful variation on our plank. We're also gonna add in little rotations through the pelvis. So we wanna rotate the pelvis side to side, but without dropping down to the floor. And that really starts to narrow through those waistline muscles, getting your waist closer to your spine and giving you that hourglass action. We can also continue holding, and if you wanna amp it up a little bit more, you can tap the knees down again, and that gives us a little bit more singular focus to each side of the waistline, really narrowing and carving out that hourglass figure. Collarbones are wide, we're lifting out of those elbows. I'm building up a little bit of heat, how about you? We're gonna do 2 more on either side. Ribs are close to the spine, collarbones are wide. Legs long and knees come down. Awesome, whoosh, I'm ready to get working. Okay guys, we're gonna go into Wunda Twist next, and I'm gonna show you a variation first that you can do for an amped up challenge, and then we'll do it in a more baseline version on the mat. So if you're looking for a more advanced variation, you can simply grab a couple paper plates, right? We got all those at the house. We set them out where your feet are gonna be, hands come onto the floor, nice wide palms, and you're gonna cross your right foot in front of your left. So your right foot comes in front of your left, and you're on the balls of your feet. At the bottom, we have our hips shining forward and our shoulders shining in the other direction. On the exhale, think about your pelvis floating up as your inner thighs magnetize and you drop into a pike position, and then you inhale to come long. Exhale, drawing up and back like a diagonal. Inhale, down and long. So that's the advanced variation. We can also do this on the mat without the plates. Hands come wide onto the mat. Once again, we're on the balls of our feet, right foot is in front of our left, and we start in that kind of twisted position to get moving. Collarbones are wide, lifting out of the wrists, and then we think about fishing hooks, drawing our pelvis up and back. This is an inhale for length, exhaling as we return back to start. Inhale, rotate through the pelvis, rather than thinking about the legs or the feet, and return to start. I like to think about my pelvis like a jellyfish. My legs are like tentacles, and my pelvis is lifting and floating and elongating, really stretching the length of the waistline, kind of lifting off of the hips as you draw back. You'll notice really intense effort through the postural muscles, arms, shoulders, and certainly through the waistline. We can hold it down at the bottom here, and then for really deep focus, it's a little lift and twist. Little lift and twist. You see that the pelvis is rotating and drawing up and back just a teeny bit. Let's do 2 more. And bring it down 1 knee at a time. Whoosh. All right, guys, we're gonna stand up now. And let's go right into some pliés. So the difference between a plié and a squat is a plié, we keep our torso upright. So we're gonna step into a wide second position. You can start with your hands on your hips. And what we're gonna do is lower the knees, but without changing my height. See how my height didn't change? And we wanna find that knee bend. How far can you bend your knees before your height changes? That's how we find the low belly, even though you're like, pliés, that's for legs. No, no. We're using the core in opposition. So the core reaches up as the knees bend, and you can feel that happening. Once you get the sense of that, you can go ahead and let your height change and get lower, but we're still feeling that upward lift through the core and the deep abdominals. And then we inhale to rise. That's how we find that core effort. Exhaling down, check that the knees are aligned, big toe, second toe. Inhale as the crown of the head reaches up and the legs absorb into that jellyfish. So we can think about that jellyfish again. We've got the pelvis inhaling and floating the legs like tentacles. You can see that I'm shaking. I hope you are too. All right, we're gonna hold the next one down. We're gonna do little heel raises. This again gets into that waistline. So think about your right inner thigh spiraling to the sky. Notice my hip didn't lift, but my heel did. And then we're gonna press down. We're gonna think about that left inner thigh peeling off the floor, and you feel the right waistline activate. So this is called a diagonal muscle sling. So we're lifting the inner thigh, it crosses the pelvic floor and into the opposite waistline. Pelvis is quiet, and it's a lift. The femur bone is doing the rotation. It's kind of like a doorknob. And then we're gonna press it down. One more on either side. For extra challenge, you can take the arms out and hold, sculpting the arms while we're working. And let's set both heels down. Now we're gonna go into some TikToks. I like to make kind of a circle with my arms, but make sure you have a soft bend to those elbows. We don't wanna do this and jam our ears, yeah? So we have a soft bend to the elbows, shoulder blades are melting down. Notice that the pelvis is not going to change position. We're just going to arc, as if we're arcing over a barrel. Do you see how this side of the ribs really opens up? That stretches your intercostals, the muscles between the ribs, as you sculpt the waistline. And then we're gonna inhale as we rotate to the other side or arc to the other side. Exhale, return with length to the center. Inhale, arcing. Notice that the shoulders are still away from the ears, so it feels really yummy. It feels like a nice stretch. I know it's a lot of work, but it feels like a nice stretch while we're working. Exhaling to return to center. I'm asking for an inhale on that switch to the side or that shift to the side. I'm asking for an inhale there so that we can get nice opening through those ribs. Last time. Inhale here. Exhale. Last time. Inhale. And bring it back. You can do that whole series with your heels up if you want a balance challenge. We can do that same TikToking with the heels up the whole time too. All right, guys, we're gonna do that wounded twist on the other side. Remember, if you want to, you can do the paper plates under your feet, or you can do it with the mat and no plates at all. So the left foot comes in front of the right. This time the left foot comes in front of the right, and now you can see it kind of from the reverse. So I have my hips shining one direction and my shoulders shining the other. On the inhale with length, we're gonna take that pelvis and reach it up and back. Do you see that it's at a diagonal, not just straight up to the sky? It's going up and back. Exhaling as we rotate. Inhaling, lengthening the pelvis, getting a lot of space between both sides of the ribs, and exhaling to return. A lot of times we can really crowd the waistline. In this position, it would be crowding the left waistline, but we really want to aim for lots and lots of length and lots of space between the bottom of the ribs and the top of the pelvis. Lengthening back on your inhale, think about the outer thighs magnetizing as we work. Shoulders stay off the ears. Exhaling as we lower. We're gonna do one more, full range of movement, and then we're gonna go into those little tiny rotations that really sculpt through that low waistline, yeah? So now we're doing a little tiny lift back and return to start, up and back. Whew, guys, I'm shaking. Anyone else? I thought so. Little lift up and back. Press away from the hands, get those shoulders off the ears, lengthen the waistline, two more. Inhaling and exhaling, and knees down, awesome. Whoosh. Okay, we're gonna go into a side plank next. You can always do this on one hand if you're looking for additional balance challenge and focus through the arm and shoulder. And we're gonna do it today together on our forearm. That gives you a little more stability and a little less of a lever angle. You can also choose to do it with feet stacked. Feet would be right foot in front of the left if you have them one in front of the other. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you today, stacked. So we're gonna get our feet right on top of each other, our hips right on top of each other, and our shoulder is directly above that elbow. From here, we're gonna lengthen, lifting the hips and reaching the crown of the head away from the heels, and we're gonna hold to start with. So we wanna make sure we're not leaning, hanging into that shoulder joint. Think about the shoulder blade drawing down and around the ribs, lifting out of that elbow and holding. It's fun already, right? All right, guys, we're gonna add a little challenge to it. So you can hang out right here, this is a great challenge, or you can add a couple leg lifts. We're gonna do 4 leg lifts and 4 kickbacks, all right? So here we go. We're gonna crease at the side of that top hip, the left hip. Foot is flexed. 4, 3, oh my Lord, yes. 2, try not to drop this hip. And 1, hold it here, kickbacks, we're creasing at the glam line. I like to open the front side of the ankle. 3, lift, lift, lift out of that elbow. Last 2, 1. Feet lower together, and with control, we come back to the mat. Oh my goodness. All right. We're gonna come back up onto our feet and go into our parallel squat. Squat, that's not for your waistline. Yes, it is. It's all connected, guys. We're gonna have our feet 4 inches apart in parallel. So we want all 10 toes shining in the same direction. And we ask for 4 inches apart right under where your hip is inserting into the femur, all right? You can have your hands here. You can also choose to have your arms in front of you for additional challenge through the arms and shoulders. So a squat, different from the plie, we send that jellyfish, that pelvis back, and see there's a great big crease at the front of your hips, and the sits bones broaden. That's the base of your core. The base of your waistline is the sits bones, the pelvic floor. Inhale, and we narrow to come all the way up and completely open that crease. Get a crease under your tush, yes? Exhale, navel draws up and in, the abdomen is deeply engaged, guys. Think about that inhale, that jellyfish lifting you rather than a push from the feet. Ignore your feet. Exhaling here to crease. Inhaling to lift. You'll notice that I also allow my knees to come in front of the ankle. That allows for proper bone rhythm and allows you to access deep abdominals and deep core. If you lock your knees right over your ankles, you're gonna lose that bone rhythm and lose that connection to the core. It's gonna come all tush, all quads. That's not what I'm after. I'm after the whole body working together. Let's hold the next one down. So how low you go is entirely up to you. It makes no difference as long as you've got that alignment right. You've got a nice long spine and a neutral pelvis with your hip bones stacked just below your ribs. Take your arms into a circle position. Think about your arms being invited into the rib cage. And we're gonna inhale as we rotate. Exhale to center. Inhale to rotate, and you'll feel that waistline kick on. You'll feel the opposite inner thigh. Also help you to stabilize as you rotate, keeping those collarbones wide. Just a few more each direction. You can get a little bit lower if you want more challenge. Inhale, think about the ribs rotating rather than your arms. So it's not my arms swinging side to side, it's the rib basket rotating, and the pelvis stays quiet. One more each direction, ribs rotate. Last one to this side. Come back to center, we're gonna hold. I like a challenge of a longer lever, arms coming up, plug the arms into the shoulders, and then we're gonna broaden the sits bones and narrow. Broaden, can you feel that happening? It's at the base of the core, so it's literally the bones in your tush, and they're broadening on the way down and narrowing to lift you. That's how you're gonna find that jellyfish sensation rather than pushing through the feet. We're gonna do 4 more, exhaling down, inhaling up, really find it deep through those sits bones, rotating, not a push of the legs. Last 2. And last one, come all the way up. Excellent, guys. Okay, we're gonna go into the side plank on our left forearm. So we're gonna have our left forearm down. Again, you can choose to do this on your hand, and you can choose to have your one foot in front of the other. We're gonna stack the feet here, and I'm gonna do it on my forearm, and we're gonna have the hips stacked here. So we're gonna hold for a minute just to find that nice challenge through the waistline, lifting out of the elbow. And then we're gonna go into that leg lift on the top leg. So instead of thinking about how high the leg goes, we wanna think about creasing at the top of the hip, yeah? And then we're gonna crease on the back line of the hip. So we're going to do a little lift here, 4 times only. Last 2, try not to let that bottom hip drop. Last one, hold it up, open the front side of the ankle. Now we're creasing at our tush. Crease here, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring it all the way down with control. Whoosh. All right. This next one, guys, is called rolling like a ball. It's a little bit wobbly, but we're gonna build our strength together, all right? So I like to have my legs in closed parallel position and bring your hands behind your legs like so. This is gonna give you a little additional support, and we're gonna be working in flexion. So that means we're rounding our spine, but that doesn't mean we wanna shorten the front side of our body. We wanna keep lots of length the whole time. So what we're gonna do, and you're definitely gonna need a mat if you're on a hard floor, this is not gonna work for your spine. So we definitely need a mat. You can even double it over if you would like to. We're gonna roll back onto our spine, and then we're gonna use our deep abdominals to land, and we're trying to land in an apex balancing on our tailbone, all right? So let's just go through a few together. Rolling back, stay off your neck, come back up, and try to hit that apex point, yeah? You can feel the entire abdominal wall really working to help you get through that roll. We wanna use as little momentum as possible and really use control. You can see that as I'm kind of going through them, I'm slowing down a little bit. So you can do that too. Instead of, once you kind of get the hang of the movement, try not to use momentum and try to use the strength of the abdominals to lower you down, stay off the neck, and come back up. If your feet touch down, that's okay. Pick them back up and keep working. Magnetize those outer thighs. We're gonna do 3 more here. Oh yeah, there we go. Last 2. And last 1. Let's do a hold here for a challenge. We can hold here. If you'd like to do a teaser pose, you can extend for 5, 4, 3, 2, and break. All right, guys, next we're gonna go into crisscross. You can just lay right back down. And on the outside, just at a quick glance, you're gonna say, oh yeah, this is a bicycle crunch, I know that. No, absolutely not. We're gonna keep lots of length on the front body. We're not gonna add wrinkles to the front body, to your shirt, or to your abdomen. I'm literally holding the weight of my head in my hands. My fingers are interlaced, and I'm holding the weight of my head in my hands to relieve tension on the neck. Bring both legs up into a tabletop position. Notice that my tailbone is still heavy on the mat, and I haven't dumped my low back in to press it into the mat. We're holding a neutral pelvis. My hip bones are shining to the sky. We're now gonna think about the lowest rib coming towards the opposite inner thigh, and that's the effort here with that length. So one leg elongates, and then I'm rotating my lowest right rib towards my left inner thigh, back to center, lowest left rib towards right inner thigh. Notice that my elbow and my knee aren't anywhere close to each other. I don't care, that's not what I'm after. I'm after the deep abdominals, I'm after length, and if you try it, you really notice how much more effort that is than when you're just jamming your knees into your elbows, yeah? And you can see the length that I'm keeping on the front body. So you can pick up the pace once you get the hang of it, keeping the pelvis quiet, rotating through the waistline, elongating the opposite leg as we rotate the rib towards the upper inner thigh. So that's where the focus is. The head is heavy in the hands, relieves pressure on the neck. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Bring it back to center and lower all the way down. All right, let's rise back up to our feet again. Keep that cardio going because that also helps to sculpt our waistline, right? So we're gonna step back to the rear side of our mat. Arms come up overhead and we're gonna do a Pilates push-up. So what that means is we step 4 times with our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you wanna be in your plank. You can go into your push-up here, rise up, and then step back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands float up. We're gonna do a couple more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing a tricep focus variation here with my elbows folding in towards my body. You can also choose to do your hands wide if that feels aggressive. Rolling up on the spine. Arcing down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do several push-ups here. We're gonna do 4, 3, last 2, last 1. Hold at the top of the plank. We're gonna do a few step outs here. So you can always choose, guys, to go down to your elbows and your knees and hold a plank like this. So if it feels aggressive on your wrists or on any other part of your body, you can always hold a plank here and get really nice work. Or you can come back up. You can do kind of halfway in between. Or you can reach the legs long, and then for advanced variation, add the step outs. We have 4 more, and you've made it. Last 3. Last 2. This is the last one, and we stretch. And come back into your downward facing dog. Oh, we made it. We've been doing so much waistline work. What we're gonna do is open through the waistline from this downward dog. So we're gonna float that left knee and foot up. Open through the waistline, reach that jellyfish pelvis back. Take a few breaths here. Bring the foot down. Opposite side. Right knee folds, right leg lifts. Opening through the hip, opening through the side body. Bring it back down. And you can bring both feet back down and then your knees onto the mat. I had so much fun working out with you, and I can't wait to hear what you think about the waistline workout with Pilates. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Look forward to hearing from you guys.